Hello everyone, this is Tanya from Professor Tanya Speaks, and today we're going to talk about how to test your attention grabber, your thesis, and your conclusion to ensure that it's the best combination for your speech. Now you'll remember in a previous video I said that if you want to be sure that you really give a brilliant speech, then you have to be critical of yourself. And one of the things you want to do is ensure that you have chosen the best attention grabber. So I'm going to give you an example, and that will be based on this video that I did. When I did this video, I spoke about the student who was talking about grit. And I stopped her and I said, no, that's not the best start. And this was a student I was teaching for the third time. So like I said, I knew of some of her life experiences. I didn't know everything, but I knew that she had stories. So I said to her, stop, think about it, and give us a story, because her speech was about to be a very average speech. So I said, give us a story, because like I said in this other video, when you tell stories, there is an emotional connection because of the hormones that are released. So you can bet your bottom dollar that if you tell a story, you will get emotional connection. Now, there are many things that you can do, many things you can use as attention grabbers. That's a fact. But the best, the absolutely best, is a story. You can ask questions, that's second best. You can say something surprising that shocks people, that's third best. But the very best is a story. I'm not trying to discredit the other things, because other things work. You may want to start with a quote. You may want to do something, something dramatic. I tell students all the time that one of the best attention grabbers that I've ever had in my 20 years of teaching was an attention grabber when my student did a little thing. Let me show you what he did. No, I gotta show you. He stood in front of us and he held his hands like this and he said, "What I have in my hands can make you sick." And then he paused. "What I have in my hands can make you poor." And of course, we're all listening to him. And then he said, "What I have in my hands can kill you." And then we all did and then he opened his hands. And guess what? Salt. Oh my God. It still remains one of the most chilling attention grabbers I've ever listened to. He was going to give a speech about salt, S-A-L-T, that thing we put in our food. And he just wanted people to know that if you have too much salt, you can get hypertension, blah, 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 and you can die. But just the way he did it, where he had his hands like this and then he just opened it and we saw the salt just coming down. And that is what an attention grabber should do. Because when he was done, everybody was like, oh my God, oh my God, whoa, that's so brilliant. You felt chills, you just, whoa, what? Salt? And that's all he did. Salt. So I'm telling you, stories work. Many things can work. But you have to decide on what you want to accomplish. And I know that everybody has a different level. So yeah, but you want the best? Be hard on yourself until you get the best. So this student was doing her attention grabber and I said to her, stop. Now, what she wanted to say, her thesis really was, if you want to succeed in life, you have to have grit. So she started out with a definition, which is a start, but it didn't grab anybody's attention. Not until she said this. And then she said, when I was 16, my life changed. You see, at 16, I was living in the Philippines. I grew up in a very strict Catholic home. And at 16, I found myself pregnant. And when she said that, I sat back because I knew her. Like I said, this was my third time teaching her, but I'd never heard that before. So I was taken aback only because I just hadn't made that connection. And when I sat back, I did a quick scan of the classroom. And the students who were texting stopped texting and looked up. The girl who was talking to her friend stopped talking for 1 minute and looked at her. And the boys who were slouched in their seats, feeling bored, straightened up and looked at her. Because you can't tell much about a person just by looking at them, right? Even though we do that, you can't tell the person's story. So everybody was looking and everybody was listening. You could hear a pin drop in that classroom. And we listened to her talk about how difficult it was to tell her parents, how they reacted, how hard it was for her to withdraw from high school, how hard it was to take care of her baby, especially when her friends had forsaken her. And then we listened to her talk about how she went back to school and got her high school diploma. Then she started college in the Philippines. And then she decided that she wanted to go to Canada to study. And then she told us about the application process to get the visa, because she would have to come as an international student. And then she spoke about how hard it was to get into the college. And then she said, and here I am, after years of persistence and grit. And when she said that, I just smiled. And at the end of it, at the end of her speech, I looked at her and I said, that is why I love teaching public speaking, because I love helping students to find their stories. So that pulled us in, that struck us so much, and the impact was amazing. Amazing. And that's what you have to do. You have to take it apart. Now, let us say she had only done, let's say she had told a story about her father. And let's say she had said, I had a father who worked every day and he worked hard and then he had a stroke. But one of the lessons he taught me was to have grit. And I would think to myself, why would you give that attention grabber? Because one, he died. And two, he had grit, but he died. So that would not be the best attention grabber. Not if you want to convince us that grit will help. If we have grit, we will succeed. So you have to make sure it's the most appropriate attention grabber. Or let's say that she had just told a story about a friend who always encouraged her to work hard, but that friend ended up dropping out of college and having 5 babies and not getting very far with her life. Now, that would not be the right attention grabber, even if the person taught her to have grit. And sometimes we choose attention grabbers because they're kind of related to what we want to say. But if they do not prove the point, if you cannot go from the story or the attention grabber to the thesis, cut it out. But if you look at what she did, she said, when I was 16, I was living in the Philippines. I had grown up in a Catholic family and I found myself pregnant. But I learned about grit. So I went from being 16 and pregnant and not finishing high school, and I did this and I did this and I did that until I finally got a chance and I came to Canada, and here I am in Tanya's class now giving my speech. Oh my God. There wasn't a dry eye when she was finished. And then she said, so today I'm going to talk to you about the value of grit. And I'm going to show you how, if you have grit, you can succeed in life. And then let me tell you about her conclusion now. In the end, she said, I'm teaching my daughter about grit also. And because of my grit, she will also be coming to Canada to do her studies, because she has learned the value of grit and she also wants to succeed in life. And because of my example, she is going to succeed. Oh my God. A brilliant ending. And that's what you need to do for yourself. You need to make sure that if you were to only do your attention grabber, your thesis, and your conclusion, your audience would be like, whoa, yes, yes. If you can achieve that, doesn't matter what even comes in the body. Seriously. I mean, you got to have a good body. But when those three things tie together and it's firm and you just feel the balance and you see the flow, that's what's going to give you the A. So if you're one of my students, you want to get that A, make sure the three big parts connect. And if they do, that'll be your A. That'll be the A shot, baby. That will be it. So remember, test your thesis against your attention grabber. First, you have the thesis, that's first. So step one, create your thesis. For the test, look at your thesis, step one. Step two, look at your attention grabber and see if it exactly supports your thesis. And you'll know it's exact if at the end of it, you can say, so today I'm going to talk to you about blah, blah, blah. Just like what she said. When I was 16, I was pregnant. I did this, and I learned grit. And that's why I'm here today to talk to you about grit. If you can make it flow like that, you've got it. And then her ending was, and my daughter has also learned grit, and she also will be coming to Canada. Only three things, and that's a story. That's the money shot, baby. Just those three things. You have to have the same impact. If you have the same impact, that's the speech, and that's the speech we want to hear. So test the three big things. If they coordinate, then nobody even has to give you feedback, because you will know if it works or it doesn't work. So I hope that taught you something today, and I hope that you will now know how to ensure that your speech is solid, because if it is, you're going to wow your audience, and that's your goal, to wow your audience. So try that out. Keep practicing until I see you in the next video. Bye for now.